Oh no. What are we doing? Back in the garage. Did that. Didn't film it. It's the part number if I forget to post it. So, O'Reilly's Auto Parts. This is actually cheaper to buy the fan assembly wood shroud, believe it or not. All right, welcome back, everybody. So, I'm going to attempt to remove this fan shroud and fan because that is working intermediately. Last 2 days, I changed the temperature sender. This one doesn't particularly have. So this particular model, I seen some on the YouTubes. They have a like another sending unit back here, and I see nothing. And I've been in there before, and I don't know if this later model version does not have it, but I don't see the sender for the gauge. So I don't know if that is just the gauge sender or not, but I changed that, still didn't change it. Then literally the following day after I did that temperature sender unit, the alternator took a crap. Went down to 9 volts on the way home, or right about 9 volts. And the next morning I started up after I bought this, and it went right back to 14.68 or whatever it was. But I didn't trust it, so I changed it out, brought it back as a core, $40. I think it was $151. O'Reilly's the Remand 136 amp Bosch Remand, I guess that's what they call it. But so now today, yeah, it happens in threes, and I did the U joint, so maybe it happens in fours. But last couple mornings, let me shine some light in this so you guys can see. Last couple mornings, like when I get to my work and I idle while my machines warm up. And if you guys are missing that content from machines, go to Dirty Dirt Garage. It's all over there now. So this particular fan is intermediate. I put my fingers on it and it literally will turn on its own once it reaches a certain temperature. But right now, it is not. So I don't trust it. So I ended up going on the interwebs, went to O'Reilly's, and this part number right here, FA70269, comes with the shroud and fan all bolted up for $112. My cost was $109. I think it was like $119. And it comes with this whole thing. But there's 4 bolts we got to get after. We get the light over here again. So that bolt we need to get out, all 10 millimeter. It's only 4 bolts. That one right there. That one underneath there. So we're underneath the Jeep now on the passenger side. That 10 millimeter bolt, 10 millimeter bolt has to come out, and the connector right there with that red clip. And then the one over here is going to be probably the hardest, and it's hard to get. Let me get you back. So right in there, oh man, that's going to be a pain in the booty. But those 2 lines right there, I'm going to try to get the light over there for you better. But yeah, you can see the head of the bolt, kind of. Really bad camera angle. Oh, right there, right in between the 2 coolant lines. Yeah, that's going to be a pain. And that needs to be unbolted as well. I think I might have to go from the top with that. I could be wrong, but we'll see. That one's going to be the tough one. So just a heads up, I got the bottom one off down there, and I got the disconnection. Do the red clip, and then you could disconnect that. I already got that bolt out down there, and I'm working on the 2 top ones. But all you really need to do right now, all I've used is a 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench, just a old school ratcheting wrench. So I'm looking at this bottom bolt down in here. I know you guys can't see it right now, but I showed you earlier in the video this one that's going to be a pain. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get it from this top side. That's going to be my issue, just where it's located. Yeah, that's going to be difficult. So I want to see if I can take this air box out and see if that helps. I don't think it's going to, but we're going to try to see if we can try to get some stuff out of the way anyways. I know I installed this with a few self-tappers because that is not installed anymore. That's stripped out. I thought there was one that might have been still installed, but no, it's not. I literally have, yeah, just these 2 self-tapping Self tappers working. How did that get in there? It's weird. Yeah, that got in through the intake. Look at that. Highway? That's strange. Okay, before I get too far, yeah, we're at this point. So literally investigating that final bolt that's down there with the clip that goes this way because we're going to get this out and I'll show you. Or I could just open up the box over there, but I got everything just kind of like not disconnecting anything I don't have to, including my fog lights. I have everything where I can just manipulate this out of the way. This whole front Corsa piece, a piece, I can just manipulate out of the way. But this here, four bolts come out, four bolts come out. I'm taking the whole radiator out. I don't see any other way to do this. I really don't. Without breaking that bolt down below, and I don't want to do that. So I'll bring it back. I know we're going to take off this connection right here. I'm going to lose a little bit of coolant. This overflow connector we have to take off right here. Probably just do that right now. Ain't nothing. Just put that off to the side over there. And I'm going to try to lift this radiator. I don't know. This is going to be a pain in the butt. But yeah, that might be what we got to do. A couple bolts out front. We got to get with an extension to get the radiator off. And yeah, it's that's the only way I can see it really to come out to get that out properly. Well, this escalated way quicker than I thought. So I forgot to film this as I got going. But I put the headlights back up there. But I just leaned everything like I had before. And then I took out that core support, like I said, the two bolts right here. And then make sure you take off these two bolts here for the bracket. And then these go here as well for your, they fit right here. They go right behind here for your latch, for your hood. Yeah, so, yeah. That went a lot, yeah, for that one bolt, that's what we had to do. So here's the radiator right here. And now you can see where the two, that's the front side of the radiator, right? So that goes that way through the grill, which mounts right here, right in here. And then this is the back side. And I didn't want to damage the radiator. Let me flip it around, hold on. Bad camera work, sorry. Right here. So that one was easy. That one was good. That one wasn't bad. That was the one that this bracket goes on right here. What a pain in the butt. And then since I'm here, I'm going to do it. $46 for both radiator hoses. I'm going to take that off in the morning, hit the auto parts store, O'Reilly's, get my upper radiator hose, my lower radiator hose, get some antifreeze, and then also don't forget to take this sticker off. Can't get in there right now, but the radiator sticker here. Not the radiator sticker, the fan routing sticker. I'm gonna take that off in the morning. We'll do it in the morning. We'll pick this back up. Make sure that isn't leaking. I'm gonna rinse that all down. Oh, also I took out the reservoir, two bolts right here, and then the clip pin. I'm gonna rinse that out. Yeah, so a lot of work to get that radiator shroud off. But also I did, for the transmission coolant lines, take that bolt out. I put it back in so it didn't leak anything overnight. And then, you know, yeah, so that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So that's doable, and that's the best way to take out the radiator. Just take out the core support, and then, yeah, you can take everything right out. You can leave the condenser right in. You don't have to take anything out. I did unbolt that just to give myself some room down here to snake out the lower radiator hose connection. That's the only downfall of that, but yeah, we'll rinse this out in the morning, flush that out. I'm going to flush out the reservoir, and we'll pick this back up in the morning. A little chilly this morning. We're back at it. Good morning. Like I said, this escalated rather quickly. So got some part numbers here. This is a lower radiator hose, upper radiator hose, gates, and I just went simplify. So when I put this back together, I got the pre-diluted. Yeah, you can get the full strength for $1, $2 more, and then get your, you know, what? Get your Water, there, your distilled water. Just did this. Don't forget to do this with your new fan shroud if you're getting one, or you can replace the motor. Grab your sticker off your old uh, fan shroud. So I'm gonna hold on to that. I know it's intermediate, but might be able to use it with this. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. All right, so we got to get this upper radiator hose off. Everything's kind of dry from last night. Got to dispose of that. Let this heat up a little bit, and then let's put everything back together. Yeah. We got the radiator hoses on. Make sure you swap over these little hose protectors. Put your clamps on up here. Slide down. Yeah, I know. I couldn't find a clamp big enough. One of these spring clamps. I'm gonna have to replace that eventually, which is really bad. But I have it squished down on the aluminum, so hopefully this lasts a little longer. But then we'll put the two clamps down there, one there and one here, and then don't forget, if you did clean out this reservoir, put this back. Got to find the hardware to do that. And then next, we're going to lay this down flat and install the fan. All right, well, it looks like the audio cut out on my mic. Potentially it might have died. But I'm just talking about basically where the mounting bolts go for the radiator itself, because it's all one piece. The radiator has its own tabs. And then also the condenser that is put in that sleeve right there. If you look straight down, both sides have those tabs with those little legs that come out from the condenser itself and sit on the radiator tabs. So be very mindful of putting that and installing that correctly so it has a place to mount and sit properly so it doesn't wiggle away. It's doable, just take your time. Talking about the connection, to make that connection right there. I ended up doing it from up top. You can go down below and reconnect it if necessary. But yeah, I'm just showing basically where all the connections were. And then down below, you will have to go back underneath the Jeep and hook up the lower radiator hose. Make sure you put your clamps on before you install the hoses. It makes it a lot easier when everything's in place. And then also there's a mounting bolt right there. You can see the tab with the flashlight on it. You're going to install a 10 millimeter bolt there, and then right adjacent to it, you can see the two coolant lines right there with flashlight shining on in the right hand top corner. There's a long 10 millimeter bolt that bolts it to the headlight like assembly. Well, this clip is again compromised with the audio, my fault. Just talking about putting in the overflow hose. Make sure you wrap it up and under where it belongs. Like I said, again, I got that clip from up top, worked out great, thank God. And then I basically check all your mounting bolts, make sure they all seated correctly. Again, go underneath, connect the radiator hose, and then also we have to connect I did talk about that as well. The O-rings, there's two O-rings on the feed and return on the power steering. I keep calling it power steering. It's actually transmission lines. So the transmission coolant lines, check those O-rings. You got your AC condenser. We never remove that, so we should be good there. And then also just, I'm just kind of like overseeing everything. Oh, that's fog light wiring. You won't have that wiring there unless you run auxiliary fog lights, but that goes down the same side.